All right, we are live on YouTube, and tonight we're going to be discussing how to avoid YouTube termination. So stick around and find out exactly what I'm talking about. All of that and much, much more is coming right. Whoa! From Northern California, welcome to Navigating the Modern World with Coach Eli. And if this is your first time here, and most importantly, you are open to suggestions and change, please consider subscribing and then banging that bell. And after you bang that bell, when that pop-up box pops up, make sure you select all notifications, because that way you won't miss a single thing. You will not miss anything when it comes to getting a better grip on your life. And also make sure on your smartphone, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android, or anywhere that you have the YouTube app installed on, you must also make sure that the YouTube app is set to receive those notifications at a device level. You do all of that, and you're all set to go. I'll give you a big, huge round of applause, and maybe even a digital round of applause. Yeah, because we are in the modern world. And speaking of the modern world, being in the modern world, today we're going to be discussing the modern world people, the millennials and post-millennials, as part of an example regarding this topic, because if you haven't already heard, another pretty prominent YouTuber was removed from YouTube. I believe it happened yesterday. Now, I didn't know that much about this person. I had briefly heard about him in the past, but I never followed his work. And he goes by the name of Leafy. And he's this 25-year-old, I believe he's a gamer. And you know how a lot of young gamers get a lot of attention. They talk a lot of smack, right? They talk a lot of smack. And when you're young, in that age, or at that age, and you're also dealing with female gamers nowadays, because there are a lot of female gamers, a lot of times the way that these young gaming guys get attention is they go on the attack and they attack other female gamers. And then they wonder why their channel gets shut down for bullying or cyberbullying and harassment. Yeah, go figure. But anyway, before we get into that and I share my thoughts, this is not going to be too terribly long of a show tonight, folks, because it's pretty cut and dry, you know, what's going to prevent you from getting shut down or terminated on YouTube. Just follow the freaking guidelines, right? And if you are in the YouTube partner program like I am in, on top of following community guidelines and copyright guidelines, you need to follow the ad-friendly guidelines. Okay? I mean, it's pretty simple. The rules are cut and dry, and people by now know the rules. And if you're not willing to abide by the rules that YouTube has the right to set forth, then maybe this platform wasn't made for you. And if you're going to push the guidelines and the rules and the terms of service, you're going to risk, getting terminated, such as Leafy did yesterday. And it happened all of a sudden. I'll share the story in just a second here. But let me go to the chat and check things out real quick. Okie dokie. First, let me make sure the notification went out. The notification has gone out. And it looks like the stream health is looking good. And we have 6 people in the box. Thank you so much for being here on this warm Saturday night here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It is 10:16 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 7:16 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time in my neck of the woods here in the San Francisco Bay Area. It hit 88 degrees today. It started to cool down a little bit. Then today, it spiked back up to almost 90 degrees. And then starting tomorrow, there's going to be another cooling trend. And if you've been following the news, nationally, there are a lot of fires happening again here in Northern California where I live. Whenever we get some extreme heat, It causes the grass to dry out quicker. There's a lot more dry brush, and in areas that are a high fire zone area where there's a lot of brush, all it takes is one down power line, one cigarette, one flick of a cigarette. It just takes one little thing to ignite that dry brush, and then it spreads like quickly, like very, very fast. So we're kind of dealing with that right now here in Northern California. There's a lot of smoke all over, Northern California, including the Bay Area where I live. Now, it's not as bad as it was a few years back, when the North Bay got hit with a lot of fires. Remember the North Bay fires? And I was dating my ex, Dana, during that time. And I was in that area. Now, her area, is not a brush zone, where she lived, but a little further north in Sonoma County, which is also known as the wine country, like the Napa area, Sonoma. Many of you know about those areas, regardless of where you live. There's a lot of dry brush and a lot of land out there. And man, I'll tell you, it was just torched. So, and there are a few fires up there right now. It's not as bad as it was, but, it's still not good to have any fires. So anyway, let's see. Let me get the chat here real quick. Nuts World says, just finished my classes for the day. Have tomorrow off, but going to go back and screen record all the classes so I have the information. Good for you, Mutt. Good for you, Mutt. And let's see. Mutt furthermore says, it was 91, I believe, here today. Have storms heading my way this week. Okay. Hopefully it cools down a little bit. I know a lot of the times when there's rain, which is what I'm trying to say, it gets very humid. So even when it rains, it can still be humid. And I don't know about you, but I think we talked about this before on a prior stream, that you're not big on humidity as well, just like myself. So, hopefully, the weather will get back to normal soon in your neck of the woods and in my neck of the woods as well. Yeah, the weather's been affecting me a little bit lately, so I look forward to it getting back down to 70, 72, 74 degrees with a slight breeze and no humidity or very little humidity. So anyway, so the topic of tonight's stream is get a grip on your emotions or YouTube may remove you. Another big YouTuber, Leafy, is terminated. One more time. Get a grip on your emotions or YouTube may remove you. Another big YouTuber, Leafy, is terminated. When I heard about this story earlier today, it happened yesterday, and a lot of people did videos on it yesterday. It just, triggered me, not in a bad way, triggered me in a good way to do a stream on this, a video on this, to, further raise awareness to people out there that are pushing the YouTube community guidelines, the copyright guidelines, and if you're in the YouTube partner program, like I am, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, the ad-friendly guidelines. Okay? So I'm here to basically state to you folks that if you don't want to risk losing your channel or channels, especially if you've built your channels up to a certain level, you've worked hard to get monetized, you've worked hard to get to a certain subscriber level, right? And it's your main source of income. If you don't want to risk losing your channels, pay attention to the rest of the stream here, because it's going to be pretty simple. It is so simple, all you have to do is change one thing. All you have to do is change one thing, is change your attitude. Stop attacking people. Stop harassing people, even if it's just for entertainment or an act, because that can be perceived as an attack and that can get you shut down. What a lot of people don't understand out here on YouTube is that, just because you're implying something as a joke doesn't mean they don't take it seriously. Implied threats on YouTube are actual threats, and you can be removed for that. Okay? Just like, implied threats in a court of law are construed as actual threats, and people are not understanding that. So why do people push the guidelines? Why do people push the boundaries? Because people are drawn to crazy things that are out of the ordinary. People are drawn to tune in and watch someone attack someone else. Or when something bad goes wrong, people tend to tune in at a rate 10 to 20 times greater than when you're creating regular content. So a lot of creators are thinking, look, if I don't push the boundaries a bit, or if I don't do this, I am, not going to get the same traction. I'm not going to get as many views. It'll be less, monetization, etc. And then people are going to get bored of my content and they're going to go somewhere else. Well, that may be true to a certain extent, but would you rather, do the right thing and create real content that is within the guidelines that's not going to get your channel shut down, or risk having your channel shut down by creating content that pushes the guidelines because it's going to get you an immediate return or an immediate reaction, right? So that's what I'm trying to put out there. Let me see here. Mutnuts World says, I've seen a few big-time YouTubers doing stories on this. Yeah, same here. And what really bothers me on some of those stories, Mutt, is the fact that a lot of these YouTubers are mad at YouTube for terminating this kid. But actually, I support YouTube on this because, from what I've heard about it, and I've done as much research as possible, it's still a developing story. So as more information comes, I will probably update you folks on some future streams. But basically what happened is this creator, Leafy, a 25-year-old, did like 3 or 4 videos in a row on, I got to remember what her name was. Her name is Pokimane. Okay, did 3 or 4 videos in a row regarding Pokimane, who I believe is a female gaming YouTuber. And, I think he was like talking about her boyfriend or doxing her boyfriend, or he did something to attack her, right? And you know how guys are, in their early to mid 20s. I mean, even when I was in my early to mid 20s, I had my moments where I said some things that I really shouldn't have said. Okay. But I wasn't as bad as a lot of these, 20 and 30-year-old guys are nowadays because they're being raised differently. A lot of, men and women in the modern world, the millennials, which are the Gen Y millennials, and then the Gen Zers, the post millennials, the I generation, Gen Z, they're being raised in a completely different environment. And in my opinion, they're not being raised with the same morals, values, and ethics as us Gen Xers and baby boomers were raised. But what these, millennials and post millennials don't understand is that, the rules are still the same, right? The rules are still the same. And just because you were raised a different way, which is probably, responsible for your behavior, doesn't mean that platforms such as YouTube are going to, give you a free pass on that. And I got to tell you, YouTube, a lot of people say YouTube is very liberal. Maybe they are. I don't have an opinion on that, even though I'm a slight left liberal. Okay. YouTube is very liberal when it comes to their community guidelines. They don't always take things down right away. There are many videos I flagged that, were much or are much worse than what this 25-year-old kid did to, this 24-year-old woman and the videos he created on her. And those videos are still up to this day. So YouTube is very, very liberal when it comes to applying their community guidelines. But what I'm beginning to more so notice is that as a channel gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and more and more ads are put on it, and there's more ad revenue made, YouTube will start to focus more on those channels because not only do they want to make sure that people are following the community guidelines, to keep the platform safe, but they also want to keep the advertisers happy, and that these channels are also following the ad-friendly guidelines. Now, I don't know the whole story of this kid. I don't know if he was monetized and then got demonetized first. What I think happened was he was monetized and he had no strikes on his channel. And then what I heard was that they just took his channel down in one shot. And a lot of people were questioning, I saw the Twitter postings and I saw a lot of other, videos that were made on it. A lot of people and some people even interviewed him, and they were asking him, okay, so, you had no strikes. It just took you down all of a sudden. And he said, yeah. And what I want you folks to understand out there, you YouTubers out there that are concerned about this, YouTube doesn't have to give you 3 strikes before shutting down your channel. If you blatantly violate a community guideline over and over and over again in one shot, even if you have no strikes, YouTube at their discretion can shut down your channel. And that's what I feel happened to this kid. He made like 3 or 4, hateful and demeaning and attacking videos to this, young 24-year-old woman named Pokimana, or however you pronounce her name. I'm not quite sure. No disrespect, ma'am. And again, you have to look at it from this standpoint. This is a man attacking a woman. And what this man, first of all, this guy needs my coaching. This dude needs my coaching on how to, better behave in general, but how to better, behave and understand women. And this dude needs to understand that women have risen up, women have equal rights, and, you can no longer treat women the way that you're able to treat them before they got rights. Now, I would have never treated women bad even before they got rights, but before women got rights, men were more able to get away with some of the demeaning and hateful things that they were doing to women, and that's why women fought and got equal rights. But nowadays, it's all about the girl power movement. And if you're a young man attacking a young woman on a public platform like YouTube, how do you think YouTube's going to respond to that? They're going to see, they got this young kid who's creating 4 or 5 videos, 3 or 4 videos on this young woman, and he's harassing her and attacking her. We need to use him as the example, shut down his channel, so that way it protects the integrity of the rest of the platform. And, no one else is going to even think about behaving this way down the road, or they're going to get shut down as well, right? Right. So that is that. Now, let me see here. Buttonut's World. I know Alan Spicer has a video about it. I haven't watched any of them yet, though. Alan Spicer was the one that I found out about this through earlier today. He did a live stream on it earlier today, Mutt. I've been subscribed to him for a while. Alan Spicer, he has like 21K subs now. Alan Spicer, I met him through the Growth Stream community, the same community that I met you in, believe it or not. And I actually had reached out to him. We were going to collab on some stuff when he was much smaller. I met Alan, it was over a year ago, when he had about 4 or 5K subs. And, he hasn't grown extremely fast, but he's grown 5 times my size, and he's growing steadily but surely. And I actually like Alan Spicer. I think he's a really, really good guy. I believe he's married, has a family, and he says it as it is. And sometimes he'll use some swear words every now and then, like I do, in the right context, but he doesn't overdo it. See, what I like about Alan Spicer is he's very similar to me. He's a straightforward, straight shooting kind of guy, but he does it in a way where he's respectful. He doesn't attack anyone, but he shares how he feels, and occasionally he will use a little profanity, which is allowed by YouTube as long as it is used in the right context in a non-attacking way. I just got a message on Hangouts behind the scenes. Okay. And Queen's behind the scenes. She's moderating, but she's not chatting in the chat for obvious reasons, and that's as far as it goes. But yeah, Queen Helen Casey also knows Alan Spicer as well. Thank you, Queen, for making me aware of that behind the scenes. And that's another sad thing. Queen is not chatting right now because she's been getting attacked and harassed by one specific person out here. We know who he is. He's this doctor dude that's been trolling everyone on YouTube for years, and we're handling that one behind the scenes. But yeah, this whole thing, about hate and attacking people and what some people out here on YouTube will do to get traction. It's very ridiculous. It's really ridiculous in my eyes. And I really wish people would just start to change. And in my opinion, the reason why there's still a lot of hate on YouTube is because YouTube is not enforcing it, in my opinion, as best as they can. And again, like I said earlier, I believe this kid had over 2 million subscribers or something like that. He was a bigger channel. I think that YouTube is more concerned about their monetized channels, and especially their larger monetized channels when it comes to this. They prioritize community guideline infractions and applying community guideline infractions on channels that are more so going to affect their sponsors. But in my opinion, I think YouTube should, treat everyone the same, even non-monetized channels. There are a lot of non-monetized channels that, I'm aware of, and I used to be a part of some of these people's channels. And when I found out they were a hate channel, I left. And funny thing is, a lot of these channels that I used to be associated with before I left their channels, because they're now hate channels, they used to be monetized in the YouTube partner program. And what happened? They kept pushing the guidelines. They kept pushing the boundaries. They kept on attacking me and other people. We kept flagging them. And guess what? YouTube eventually removed them from the YouTube partner program, which was the right thing to do. YouTube almost came close to shutting some of these channels down. There are many channels that have come at me that were removed from the partner program because of me flagging them on what they did to me. And furthermore, some of these channels even had 2 strikes on them, 2 community guideline strikes, and they just needed 1 more to get shut down. They came that close to getting shut down. Now, why does this happen? Okay, what puts these people in the position of, possibly getting shut down or even getting shut down? It is a lack of emotional self-control. Let's talk about this, and then I'm going to wrap this up. It's not going to be that long of a stream. We've been on for 22 minutes. It's probably going to be about a 30-minute stream. It's a lack of emotional self-control. A lot of these people initially tried to create regular content, regular evergreen, vanilla type of content, guideline friendly content. And when they realized that they weren't getting the traction that, maybe they used to get, especially because YouTube changed their algorithm many years ago, and they changed their monetization policies too, they realized that the only way that they're going to get more traction and make any money is by doing more cringy, hateful, attacking type of things. And that's what, a bunch of people ended up doing to me in a community I used to be involved in called MGTOW, Men Going Their Own Way. It was a friendly community initially, but then all of a sudden, it just totally flipped. It just totally flipped. And a lot of these people, just started attacking one another. And the more and more the attacks would happen and they would pick on certain people like myself, the more people would go to their live streams, the more donations they would get. And if they so happen to be monetized, which is what I'm trying to say, if they so happen to be monetized, these people would actually get more views and get more ad revenue, right? But again, what happened when these people pushed the boundaries? They got removed from the partner program, and some of them even got shut down completely shortly after being removed from the partner program. And the ones that got removed from the partner program and remained as a regular channel without monetization, they continue to push the boundaries and they continue to deal with copyright strikes, with community guideline strikes, and putting their channel at risk each and every day. Again, why are they doing this? They're doing this because they lack emotional self-control and they feel they're not good enough deep within to create regular content, which unfortunately will take them much longer to build an audience, because when you create regular content, you have to create a lot of it, and then, you have to promote it, and you have to, be consistent, and you're not going to get a lot of views right away. But if you're consistent, eventually the YouTube algorithm will pick you up and it'll find you the right audience, and you'll grow that way. But many of these people, they're so used to getting a lot of, a lot of views and getting donations for doing hateful, cringy things, that they're not willing to give that up in order to do things the right way, because it would take much longer. And in the meantime, they would be losing a lot of money. Well, the question you have to ask yourself, if you're one of those hateful content creators, is that, do you realize that you're putting your channel at risk, and at some point the YouTube gods are going to catch up to you and they're going to shut you down? And then what are you going to do? You're going to have to start all over again, when technically you're not allowed to come back on the platform once you get shut down, but everyone does that regardless, right? So here's the thing, folks. In my opinion, which it should be a fact, if you want to avoid being terminated on YouTube, and you want to run a good channel, and whether you're monetized or you're working towards getting 4,000 watch hours in the previous 12 months and 1,000 subscribers to get monetized, okay? If you want to avoid being terminated and being monetized and not risk losing your monetization of your channel, it's very simple. All you have to do is 3 things. Number 1, if you're in the partner program, follow the ad-friendly guidelines. They're very, very simple. Go ahead and look at them. Go ahead and read them. Present your material in ways that I do. I talk about everything that other YouTube creators talk about. I talk about anything and everything, even the more controversial stuff, but I present even the controversial topics as maturely and professionally as possible. And I minimize my swearing, and whenever I swear, I follow YouTube's monetization policy on swearing, which states occasional profanity will not necessarily get you demonetized, but context matters. So let me give you an example. If I say I feel effing great, I'm going to say effing, right? I'm not going to say the word. I could, but I'm not going to. If I were to say, hey, everyone, I feel effing great, and I hope you feel effing great too, I'm expressing how good I feel, and the context I'm using the F word is not in an attacking way. But if I were to come out and say F you to somebody, or F you, go do this, or go F yourself, right? Or something like that, for example purposes, YouTube, that's for example purposes, don't demonetize me for that, okay? That would more than likely get me demonetized. If you use common sense and you create any content you want to create, even if it's controversial, as long as you present it as professionally and maturely as possible, you're not going to get a guideline strike and you're not going to get demonetized for it. Okay? And then you may be asking, well, if we present controversial content in the way that you're saying, Eli, it might come off as boring and less interesting. No, because listen to my tone of voice. I speak with authority. I speak with passion. And the way that I, share my message, okay, with the tone that I use and the influx of my voice, people can feel what I'm saying. So you can, present controversial content in, guideline abiding ways, in more professional and mature ways, and still not be boring, as long as you're a great speaker and you know to emphasize your words, just like I do. I've had 0 problems. I will tell you right now, out of the last 200 videos, I think I only had like 3 or 4 that are yellow icon, demonetized, that were even confirmed by manual review. A few of them, yeah. It's going to happen to all of us, even the best of us. But like 196 out of 200 of my last streams or videos are fully green and monetized. Why is that? Because I think about what's going to get me demonetized before I do it. That includes the title that I create, that I use. That includes what's on my thumbnail and what I write on my thumbnail, the pictures I use, and also what I put in my description and my tags. All of that can be read by YouTube. So why am I going to give YouTube data that's going to get me demonetized automatically, right? You got to think about that in advance, right? And then follow the guidelines. Do we really have to go out there and make YouTube about, always about, attacking people? It's okay to do reaction videos and respond to someone and maybe, give them some constructive feedback. There's a difference between constructive feedback and, attacking people, right? Attacking is, listen, who wants to be attacked, right? Even people that attack other people, do you like being attacked? So if you don't like being attacked, then why are you going to attack anyone else, right? It's just common sense, right? But as far as I love him, you're talking about Alan Spicer, right? Absolutely, he's a great guy. Don't use any nudity. Don't do anything that you know is hateful and inappropriate. And you're going to be just fine. Don't use any racial slurs, etc. Just think about it. And a lot of you are saying, or a lot of you have said in the past, well, if I want to use racial slurs and do this and that, that's part of my freedom of speech to do so. Well, if you're looking at it technically, what you do in your own home or where you live, you have the right to say whatever you want to say there. And technically, everything is covered by your freedom of speech, but when you're in someone else's house, you have to also follow their rules. That's why YouTube has guidelines. YouTube has guidelines for that because they don't want that on their platform. If you want to create a hateful platform, which I don't suggest you do, then you start your own server and do whatever the hell you want to do on it, right? But don't complain when you do that on YouTube and they shut you down for enforcing their guidelines that you already knew existed before you said or did what you did within your videos, right? So don't blatantly violate guidelines, okay? And you ask yourself this. Here's a good way or great way to look at it, before you decide to do a certain video or behave a certain way. Ask yourself if what you are about to do in this video, especially if it's attacking somebody else or do something else to someone else, ask yourself if that same thing was done to you, would you like it? Because why would you want to do something to someone else that you wouldn't like done to you? And that's what a lot of people do out here on YouTube because they know when they push the boundaries, they get all eyes on them, right? So another good way to look at it is don't do anything to anyone else out here on YouTube that you yourself wouldn't like being done to you. It's common sense, right? That's that. Now, one more thing as far as copyright goes. Okay? I mean, this is something I did a stream, and was this the last stream I did? I think this was last night when I did the copyright stream. Yeah. Check out that stream, and if you want to know more about what's going on with copyright law and how many senators and House of Representatives are fighting to try to get a small claims court version of a copyright court in the federal court system, because right now it's too expensive for smaller creators to protect themselves from copyright. So check out that video and they'll share everything on there. But as far as copyright goes, folks, look, YouTube has the YouTube audio library, and many people might say, okay, well, those songs aren't that great. Those songs suck. Some of them do, but a lot of them don't. I use a lot of those songs, and they're just fine for me. But if that doesn't work for you, there are options out there. You can go to some third-party sites, and you can get licensed music to use on your YouTube channel. Now, you have to make sure that you follow their instructions, because anywhere that you get licensed music, that music is going to be a part of YouTube's Content ID system. And if you don't register your channel with that company or that music that you paid for with your license, then you will still get Content ID claims, and you're going to have to individually take care of those. So if you're looking for some better music to use in your videos than the YouTube audio library, do a search for, licensed music for YouTube or something like that on Google, and you'll find many platforms out there where you can, pay a monthly fee or pay a one-time fee and get a license to use these songs. Now, what I would not do is use any music from the real world, like 80s, 90s, or the music of today, because all that music is copyrighted, okay? And even though you're able to use some of it and they won't shut down your video for it or your stream for it, okay? Most of the copyright holders will allow you to use their song, but they won't allow you to monetize the video. And some of them will say, we'll let you use our song, but we're going to monetize 100% of the video. Or some will share revenue with you 50-50, okay? But my suggestion is to not use any copyrighted, music, such as 80s music, 90s music, the music of today, music that you would hear on the radio. Don't use any music like that, because at the very least, you're not going to be able to monetize it. At the very most, you may get that video block worldwide. If you're using that in the middle of the stream, it'll shut down your stream in the middle of the stream. So, that's one way to better protect yourself. And additionally, at any time, these copyright holders have the right to file a DMCA copyright takedown notice on you on top of the copyright claim, which is the content ID claim. And you definitely don't want to be dealing with a copyright strike on your channel. Melas World says, yeah, in my class, they gave us 30 days to Epidemic Sound. And after the 30 days, we can keep any music we downloaded. Yeah, but Mutt, do you have a license for that? Because here's the thing. All of those music regarding Epidemic Sound is probably in YouTube's content ID system. And unless you have a license for it, or what most people do, like I have one song that I use for my theme song at the beginning, when I show my Grip on Life logo, that is a copyrighted content ID song, right? So what happened was, when I bought that song, the person that owns that song said, I can whitelist, your YouTube channel in my system. So anytime that you use it, you won't have to, fill out the content ID claim and put in your license. I can do it for you one shot. So make sure that you get your copyrighted music that you buy with your license whitelisted by the copyright owner, so that way you don't have to deal with it. So anyway, all right, folks, that's pretty much going to do it. I've been on for 38 minutes, just a very short stream tonight. I'm going to wrap up by saying this. Why can't we all just be good to each other? Why can't we all come out here and create and not hate? Okay. I understand that every normal human being is going to naturally drop everything when something goes wrong, because as human beings, we naturally want everything to go well. And when something goes wrong, we drop everything to find out if, everything is okay with whatever's happening, right? And a lot of YouTubers, especially smaller YouTubers, younger YouTubers that aren't as mature, are going to push the boundaries doing these stupid things. And it's just stupid in my opinion. Honestly, is drama content real content? Is it challenging to create drama content? Does it require you to do a lot of work to create drama content? No, drama's drama. It's real simple. You just stir up the pot. You go and talk smack about somebody. You try to trigger them to get a reaction from them. If they react to you, then you do a video on them or a stream on them and you react to them. And if they keep feeding into you, you go back and forth, and then you have endless content to provide to your audience as long as the other person you're attacking keeps feeding into it, right? It's pathetic and stupid. And to me, like, quite honestly, yeah, initially when I was a part of that, drama sphere I used to be involved with, it was a little bit entertaining, but I got to tell you, after a while, it gets really old. It gets really old. Drama gets old because it's the same old thing, right? But you know what doesn't get old? When you follow real creative content creators that are taking the time to create great videos and put a lot of thought into them, from what they say to what kind of camera they use and what kind of shots they take in their video, right? Where they shoot their video from, right? There's a lot more creativity, for real content creators than drama content creators. So I just really wish that something would change. Maybe YouTube would, hammer down a bit more on the smaller YouTubers, even the non-monetized smaller YouTubers that are more so pushing the guidelines, because they're not a monetized channel, so they don't have a whole lot to lose. And most of their channels are, channels with 1,000 subscribers or less, right? So these people are thinking, well, if my channel gets shut down, I'll just start a new one. That's what they do. That's what they do. If their channel gets shut down, they'll start a brand new channel and they'll start their hate campaign over and over again. And it's really hard to police that. How do you police that, as YouTube? I can understand it's not easy to police. But if we all dig deep within ourselves and say, hey, look, don't we already have enough hate in this world? When you start to sit there and realize that we already have enough hate in this world, maybe you'll think twice before you contribute to the hate the next time before you do it. And that's where I'm going to end this stream today. Well, hang on. Nuts World says, you're probably not going to use it. Okay, you can. Just make sure you get it licensed properly. If you need help with that behind the scenes, Mutt, I'd be happy to help you with that. So, like I said a second ago, that's where I'm going to end this stream today at 42 minutes exactly. All right. I want to thank everyone for being here. I want to thank Mutt Nuts World for being here. I want to thank Queen Helen Casey for being here behind the scenes. Hopefully you'll come back in front of the scenes soon. I know you've been attacked by the doctor, and I know you're trying to protect yourself. But just know I've got your back, Queen. I've got your back. I mean, there's really not anything more the doctor can do besides what he's done. So, and for now, it's just a matter of time till the system handles him, and then we'll be good to go. By the way, how do you like this royalty-free picture here of the Golden Gate Bridge? Is that beautiful or what? Let me just turn off the video for a second here, and let me turn off the chat so you folks can see this amazing, beautiful picture. Let me know what you think about that. That is absolutely gorgeous. Late at night, dark, the lights of the Golden Gate Bridge glistening in the SF Bay. One side is the SF Bay, the other side is the Pacific Ocean. The Golden Gate Bridge is the gateway to the Pacific Ocean. Let's go ahead and turn on the chat again and turn on the video. There we go. I'm just going to wait a second and see if anyone responds to, if maybe Mutt will say something. I know Queen's being quiet for right now, but that's okay. You don't have to respond, Queen. No big deal. We got it. All right, we're going to get out of here, folks. Have yourselves a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow for another stream. Take care. Good night. Bye-bye. Bye. Night says Mutt, all going to catch up on sleep. I've been hashtag no sleep with my classes. All right, get some sleep, girl. Have a good night, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye. We're out. Peace. Love the background, Mutt says.